I bought a 60-inch bad boy mower off Facebook Marketplace, but it has a busted up seat, so I'm gonna fix that. First, I need to take off the old seat. I'll undo the dead man switch, and then it's 4 half-inch bolts to get the seat off. Now that it's off, I'll need to get a replacement. OEM bad boy seat replacements are insanely expensive for some reason, and even on the second-hand market, they're ridiculous. I was able to get a decent aftermarket one on Amazon for about $200, which I think is still too much for a seat, but I guess if I'm mowing for several hours each week, it might as well be comfortable. This model came with armrests and a headrest, which is great because not all of them do. I definitely won't be needing whatever this is though. I'll install the brackets to the base and then try and slide on the seat. However, I realized way too far into this that the seat needs to slide in from the front. There we go, and I can adjust it forward and back too. But part of this being a one-size-fits-most generic seat is that it doesn't necessarily fit everything. The backrest lever rubs against the controls. Off camera, I was able to scooch over the seat a bit to help this not rub as bad. Next, I'll install the armrests on each side. It's just 3 bolts each. And they have a strange way of adjusting the height of the armrests. You need to roll this little wheel to move it higher or lower. I'm sure the forklift guys are laughing at me in the comments, but I've never seen this mechanism before. And after using my big boy toys, we have both armrests installed. Now I'll just add the anti-whiplash headrest in case I put this baby into maximum overdrive, and the seat is all good. Well, not quite yet. I had to install the dead man switch off camera, and it didn't fit the connector to the mower. So I cut it off and just connected the wires together the old anarchist way. I did a lot of things off camera with this mower. That brings us to what occurred before I shot this footage, and how I almost destroyed it. Okay, so here's what happened. I needed a mower, but I didn't have a trailer, so I had to go buy a trailer off Facebook Marketplace. I had to take that trailer to go pick up the mower from someone else on Facebook Marketplace. Then I had to go mow with that mower, and I have about 3 acres to mow. I had to do all this within about 1 day, and by the way, I had to stop at the bank before going to get the trailer, since I tend not to leave piles of cash laying around our house anymore. And because I'm not good at basic strategy, I got cash for the trailer, but forgot to also get cash for the mower. So I had to go back to the bank again before getting the mower. This means there's security footage somewhere of a sweaty little man-child at a bank parking lot trying to park a 16-foot trailer 13 times. After the bank, I was able to get the mower without incident, for the most part, bring it home, and mow. All this to say, I had a lot to do and not a lot of time in which to do it. So I didn't have time to do all the regulation Facebook Marketplace Waldo's World every fluid and filter change treatment before I had to mow. This means I was in a rush. Because of this, after I was done mowing, I realized that I, like an idiot, mowed the entire 3 acres on full choke. If you don't know what that means, it basically just means I should lose my lawn mowing license. But it also means that way too much fuel was being pushed into the engine, and that does bad things. One of those being that your oil is contaminated with fuel, but I'll get to that in a second. It also makes your exhaust really black and foggy, so it does this to your exhaust pipe. Yikes, I'll get that cleaned out. It can also put extra soot into your air filter, so I'll get that changed. And sure enough, if we compare the new to the old, it looks a bit rough, but sometimes that's just how life is. Next, we'll do the fuel filter. It's not that hard, but it did take some good tugs. Get the new one in, drop the vice grips, and we're good to go. Now for the actually important fix, the oil. It takes a 13/16 socket and a 3/4 inch wrench. I'll grip the hose with the wrench and take off the plug with the socket. It just drains down here, and even though it's only 2 quarts of oil, it drains pretty slow. Once it's done, I'll put back in the plug and go to the filter. I learned my lesson here as I didn't put a rag underneath it, but I prefer my mowers well seasoned anyway. Then fill up with fresh oil. Don't pay any attention to the oil pan. Don't think about that, look away. Next, these tires need to be inflated to 12 psi before I check to see if the deck is level. That's going to get done on both sides. And wow, yeah, the deck is level on both sides. 3 3/4 and a half, something like that. But now let's go look at the blades to see their condition. I'll drive the mower up on ramp so we have more room to work. There are 3 blades on the 60-inch mower, and you can see that the blades are pretty rough. Because I have a time machine, I'm able to better show you what these look like off the mower. They're pretty bad, and these ones actually may not be able to be sharpened because of how much material they've lost. But let's go back in time to take them off. First step is to remove the key so that a rabid armadillo doesn't come by and turn on the mower while I'm under it. Now, this is probably overkill, but I'm going to go ahead and remove the connection between the battery and the starter, so the mower can't start unless you whip out a hand crank like it's a 1909 Model T. Then, underneath the mower, I'm getting a 24mm socket and a breaker bar to break the blade bolts loose. It helps to use a 2x4 to brace the blade from spinning. And the previous owner must have run over a plastic bag factory, since a ton of this stuff is caught up in the blades. I'll get on the new blades and tighten them up. They're painted red because that makes them go faster. Now for the next two. The one in the middle has the same plastic bag issue, so I got rid of all that stuff. And the third one was boring and didn't have anything for me to clean off. With all that done, I'll do my best impression of a Timu Roomba and back off the ramps. Next up, I'll take off this belt cover since the little part broke off and I need to glue it back on. A little bit of super glue will probably do the trick, at least for one mow around the yard until it breaks again. Now for the last thing, I'll need to drive in a straight line. And as you can see, this line is not straight. I'll need to adjust the steering so that it's all good and straight. To do that, I'll lift up the seat and there's a little adjustment arm in here. This arm controls how fast or slow that side's tire goes. I'll get a wrench on the locking nut to loosen the head. Pull down the collet and it just comes out of its socket. Now to figure out which way to turn it. Since the mower is turning to the right, that means the right tire is turning slower than the left tire. So we want to speed up the right tire. On these bad boys, you need to turn the collet to the right to make it go slower, and turn it to the left to make it go faster. So we'll turn the right tire adjustment one rotation to the left so it speeds up, which will even things out and hopefully make it go straighter. You can remember this rule by it is the right thing to do to go slower. Right meaning clockwise. This YouTube video taught me that, so go check them out. I'll just attach the collet back and tighten the nut. Let's take it for a spin and see how she does. Well, it certainly doesn't pull to the right anymore. Now it's just a bit too much. But now I'll need to make some finer adjustments, and here's my first clue for what to do. If I put the bars at full throttle, the right one sticks out farther than the left. That means the mower inherently wants the right wheel to go faster. I need to make that left arm go out further to compensate. To do this, I can go down to this adjustment nut here and loosen it up. It just needs to go down ever so slightly, maybe a quarter inch or so. This adjusts the limits of the handle position, which will also influence the mower's speed. A little goes a long way, by the way. Now, if you look how we did, they're really spot on in alignment. Let's see how she drives. It's going really well for the most part, but it's tracking just a bit to the right. We need to bump the speed of the right wheel up just a bit to compensate. Because this adjustment is going to be so slight, a trick I like to do is to put some masking tape on the washer of the nut. This keeps it mostly in place. You can just loosen the nut and give it a slight nudge. Sometimes just the force of tightening it back up is all you need, probably less than a 1/16 of an inch. Let's give it one more test run. And I have a good feeling about this run since you can see the heavens really shining down on me. Sure enough, you can tell this mower is spot on, really running straight. Now if you've gotten this far, your mower is right on track, but if your handles aren't lined up, you can loosen this nut down here, which will let the handle swing back and forth ever so slightly. It's not a lot of room, but it'll get things lined up without messing up your speed. With all that done, I'd say she's ready to get on mowing. There's one last modification to make sure that I never drive with the choke on again, something foolproof. Yep, that should do it. Let me know what I did wrong down in the comments below.